You've got a Marvel superhero, a legendary American political family, and the White House. So, what do they all have in common? Well, apparently, family dinner. Let's dive into this totally wild story about Chris Pratt and his very, very famous in-laws.
But hey, before we get into the thick of it, do me a quick favor. If you love seeing these wild connections broken down, smash that like button and definitely subscribe so you never miss what's next. All right? Let's do this.
So, where did this all even come from? Well, the whole thing kicked off when Chris Pratt went on Bill Maher's show and, started talking politics, which is always a recipe for some interesting headlines. He dropped this line right here. He was talking about political figures, and that includes his cousin-in-law, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he said, I want them all to be successful. His whole point was that he doesn't want to have this sort of allergic reaction to someone's success just because of their party. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. Chris Pratt and RFK Jr.? How on earth are they related? It's a legit question, so let's untangle this surprisingly complicated family tree. So yeah, for real, how does Star-Lord end up at a Kennedy family barbecue? Let's actually map this whole thing out. It all starts here, with piece number 1 of the puzzle, the controversial political figure and activist himself, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Got that? Okay. Now, his first cousin is none other than the famous journalist and former First Lady of California, Maria Shriver. And Maria Shriver's daughter with, yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is author Katherine Schwarzenegger. Still with me? And who did Katherine marry back in 2019? You already know, Chris Pratt. And boom, just like that, there's your connection. RFK Jr. is Chris Pratt's cousin-in-law. Wild, right? And according to Pratt, this isn't just some technicality on a family tree. He says they actually hang out at family events. They play cards, they play the game Mafia, they have dinner. He did make it a point to say he doesn't really pick his brain on policy, though. So that brings us to the big question. What are the policies that Pratt seems to be defending here? Well, it all boils down to RFK Jr.'s mission on the campaign trail. The official slogan is Make America Healthy Again. And Pratt specifically pointed to this, saying he agrees with the goal of getting terrible, toxic stuff out of our kids' food. He even said that if RFK Jr. achieves just that, it would be amazing. But this is where things get really complicated. You've got this split. On one side, you have these goals like regulating baby formula or restricting certain food dyes, things a lot of people might agree with. And on the other side, you have his deeply controversial stances, like his push to cancel mRNA vaccine research and the heavy criticism he got for his response to a measles outbreak. And this isn't just some abstract political debate. These policies have very real-world stakes. For example, during that Texas measles outbreak, the one his response was criticized for, 2 unvaccinated children tragically died. So, knowing all of that context, it makes Pratt's comments even more fascinating. And to really understand why, we've got to take a quick look at Pratt's own political background, which is kind of a puzzle. Seriously, this has been the million-dollar question in Hollywood for years now. He's very publicly religious, but he's always tried to keep his specific political affiliations pretty quiet, which, of course, just makes everyone even more curious. So let's just run through the highlight reel, shall we? Back in 2019, he was called out by Elliot Page for his church's stance on LGBTQ issues. Earlier this year, in 2024, he was a notable no-show at an Avengers fundraiser for the Biden-Harris campaign. After the 2016 election, he told Trump critics to go ahead and cry in the mirror. And now, here he is, defending RFK Jr. Okay, so we've laid out the family ties, the controversial policies, and Pratt's own confusing political history. The big question is, what does all this add up to? Well, ultimately, Pratt kind of frames his own position as just being confused. He says he doesn't really follow the news on his cousin-in-law because he feels it's designed to make him look terrible. And he wraps it all up with this quote, "And so I don't know what to believe." And that leaves us with the final massive question. Is Chris Pratt just being a loyal family guy trying to find some common ground in a really divided world? Or is this a very savvy political move from a Hollywood star who knows exactly what he's doing? What do you think is really going on here? I want to know. Let us know your theory down in the comments. And hey, if you made it this far, you're a real one. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell for more explainers just like this. Thanks for watching.